What's up, guys? How are you? Happy Wednesday. Welcome in to another episode of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt. After what was kind of just a palate cleansing type of day yesterday, we wound up, I think, down like a half a unit, maybe down a quarter unit, depending on what happens in the fourth quarter here with Julius Randle for our plays. The Boston Celtics get there with ease in historic fashion, tying the most three-pointers ever. If you came in and took the Celtics in the first half over their 58.5 team total, we bet that a ton with them. I didn't want to make it official in week one, but I told you about it on the Discord channel. We got that right, so that was a good game for me with the Celtics. So I started off 2-0 in the NBA with the Celtics. That's always fun when it's your team on banner night and you dismantle one of your rivals. That was fun. The parlays, look, they're all parlays, okay? And if you guys are mad about losing quarter unit parlays, I mean, the Devils got smoked. Rangers won. The Bruins got smoked by the Nashville Predators. Dallas did not have a goal in the first 10 minutes, but Carolina and Edmonton did. The Colorado Avalanche do not go over. The Rangers did in the first period. The Vegas Golden Knights are currently, let me see. I don't know if that game actually went over or not in the first period for the Vegas Golden Knights, but Julius Randle may get us to be down only a quarter unit. That was the play on the BettingPros app. Let me see. Where are we with the NHL game? Did we go over with the Golden Knights in the first period for them against the Kings? We didn't. Oh, it's still going on right now. So we're about halfway through. It's 1-0 Vegas. So we could have gotten there, but it didn't matter. So this is the thing with parlays, guys. And I know some of you guys were saying like you were frustrated about the parlays. I don't bet parlays for a reason. And when I do things like that, I basically say, okay, I'm going to take one unit. I'm going to break it 4 ways. If we get one right, great. We get 2 right, beautiful. But I'm not expecting it. It's sort of like a 1-unit sacrifice, and it gives us something to watch, give us multiple games to have fun with and bet off of and hedge off of. And I told you different ways on the Discord channel that I was hedging off of the different parlays, because sometimes it's a 2 or a 3-leg parlay. You can hedge off of it, right? You can have different opportunities. So if the first leg hits, you can bet it. Like after we got the gift in the first, the no goal in the first 10 minutes of the Dallas game, I said, look, Carolina and Edmonton, you can bet it if you want. It was really juicy depending on the book, but you could, come in and bet on the yes if you want from a goal in the first 10 minutes, and we got it. So you can hedge off that plus 379. When you have a plus 379 hinging, you can lay 150 juice. It's not that big of a deal. It just depends on the book and what you're looking at. So, that's different ways of playing, okay? I often look to minimize risk. And if you're on the Discord channel, I try to show you guys how I do it in the way that I hedge off of parlays. But like to bet straight parlays every day is a losing proposition. You are the best friend of the books if you're doing that, okay? So we used to do a thing called the Don't Bet Parlays. And I know the content space is littered with it. There's a reason for it. The books are paying for it, okay? The books want us in the content world to tell you to bet same game parlays, to bet multi 3-4 leg parlays. Okay, that's what they want. All those pre-populated parlays you see on all the betting apps. There's a reason for that, because they lose. They lose. So sometimes they win, sure, but more often than not, they're going to lose. So I saw one guy was like, I went 0-5 last night with my own plays, even with a DraftKings bonus bet something. I don't know. I mean, he went 0-5. That's just the way it is. I'm not knocking on DraftKings or anybody. I'm just saying, like, understand the game that we're playing here, right? Every time you add a leg to a bet, it makes it more difficult to cash. Betting straight bets is what I do. Betting small. And when I'm ice cold, like I've been over the last 2 weeks, I get conservative. So tonight, I've got 2 half-unit NBA plays for us, and I've got 3 NBA win total bets to give us for the season, because the real season begins tonight in the NBA. Last night was just the tune-up. It was the appetizer with the Lakers and the Celtics. So now we're getting to the full slate of NBA games. So I'll give you 3 win totals. I normally don't bet all overs, but I couldn't find an under that I liked, to be quite honest. It wasn't anything. I got 3 overs to give us coming up here today on the podcast. So I know a lot of you guys liked the rant yesterday. Thank you for all the notes, DMs, and messages on Discord. That was fun. I appreciate you guys feeling the same way. Just want to reiterate one quick thing. I do not believe the NFL is rigged. Just because I am angry at the NFL and the product doesn't mean I'm going to stop watching it. I don't believe it's fake. Just to have to look at putting money down on it. Need to reassess that coming up for the rest of at least for a couple of weeks here in the NFL. And, I did that with, 0-5 with the Wong teaser. That was one of my favorite bets of all time. It's 0-5. Like the way I normally have bet the NFL has not worked. So when something's not working, you have to reassess and recalibrate. So that's what we're doing here. This podcast is being brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. The Play 5, get $50 instantly offer is still available to you guys right now if you go and download the DraftKings Pick 6 app. When you do so, use that code JUICE, and when you do, you'll get $50 in Pick 6 credit guaranteed. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-97-777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions may vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Okay, so let's talk about where we're going tonight. The Indiana Pacers. I've got two bets on the Indiana Pacers, but let's start with the Indiana Pacers and their game here tonight. And the Indiana Pacers offense has been just one of the stories of the NBA and their young core. I'm a big fan of the Pacers. Who is the second best team in the East? Everyone says the Knicks, the Knicks, the Knicks. Really? We sure? Everyone says the Knicks. Then it's the Sixers. Really? We really sure about that? Everyone, I think, is sleeping on what this Pacer squad may look like with Pascal Siakam for an entire season and Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner. This team averaged 123.3 points per game here last season, most by any team since the 1983-84 Nuggets. They averaged 30.8 assists in the regular season. That's the most since the Lakers in the mid-'80s. They were fast. They played fast. They shot a ton of threes. And Tyrese Halliburton became a Hall of Famer, potentially, okay, on that type of track. All-star guard. You can see it in him. He does something differently. He's not guardable. He's a guy that you start to go, that's a player to watch for the next decade. That's the guy to see what his career is going to turn into. So when you have Pascal Siakam, you have a bench with Andrew Nenhard, you have Obi Toppin, you got TJ McConnell. I like these guys a lot. I like their style of play. I like their offense. But here for tonight, in game one, I'm a little bit on the nervous side for them. I'm not like going into this game and thinking to myself, okay, we're going to have a massive blowout victory for the Pacers tonight, much like we had with the Celtics. I don't know if I can get behind that, even with the Pistons being horrible, because the number to me, I think it's something that you have to watch tonight. The number's 5. I don't love the number. I think the Pacers win, but the Pistons might be better than people think. And they're at home. It's the home opener. What I know is you can bet the over 234.5 if you want, but that's asking the Pistons to score a lot. I don't know if the Pistons are going to score a lot. I don't know a lot about the Pistons. Instead, I'm going to come in and play the team total. Pacers over 118.5 tonight against the Pistons is minus 120. I'm going to play that for 0.6 units here tonight. Pacers team total over 118.5 minus 120. Let's get them basically to their average of 123 points. Last year, we go over 118.5 and we're good. The game probably does go over, and I think the Pacers probably do cover. But I am more comfortable just saying on opening night against a poor defensive team, a team that will look to shoot threes with them and play up tempo, I think the Pistons will. I'll take the team total for the Pacers. If you don't want that, you want to lay the 5, you can do that as well. Just take the Pacers minus 5, but I'm not positive they cover that 5. I do think they score 120 points tonight. We're going to go team total over for the Indiana Pacers at minus 118.5 at minus 120. Now, as I mentioned, team total for the Pacers. I like this team a lot. Over 46.5 wins at minus 105. I'm going to put 105 units down. Remember, I bet more than that on these futures, but officially I just tell you, because I like to tell you guys to bet conservatively, just put 1 unit down on this. I know it may be a little frustrating to have a whole unit, 1 unit tied up for this long, so that's why I bet more, but you don't have to. I like the Pacers a lot to have a really good season. Like I mentioned, they have the offense. Their weakness, obviously, is going to be their defense, okay? Do they take a step forward? Can Nesmith take a step forward, the former Celtic? Can Miles Turner protect the rim? Can he step up and do what he needs to do? If they take a step defensively, we know what they can do offensively. This team could be really, really good in the Eastern Conference and make some noise, okay? They can make the playoffs. They won the in-season tournament last year, now called the NBA Cup. I really like this Pacer team a lot, over 46.5 wins for the Indiana Pacers. Now, game number 2. Everyone's out for the Sixers, at least 2 star players. Embiid out. Paul George out. Number went from the Sixers favored by 4.5 to the Bucks favored by 3.5. I'm just going to ride my gut on this. This is a huge year for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I mean a gigantic year for them. I don't like Doc Rivers at all. I mean, Doc Rivers still being there is extraordinarily frustrating to me. I can't believe he's still there. But this is Giannis, this is Dame, this is Middleton, and it's Brook Lopez. All right, these are 4 very good players. I know the bench isn't phenomenal, okay? Gary Trent's going to come off the bench this year for this team. Delon Wright's going to come off the bench for this team. They definitely will need some depth help at the trade deadline. They need some pieces. But in night 1, after what happened last year, I mean, my goodness gracious. Bobby Portis' eyes alone should stare down and stare right through the Sixers team going, wait a minute, you're not playing Giannis? You're not playing the bigs? You're not going to play Embiid? You're not going to play Paul George, who, he wasn't going to play, hurt his knee, but I thought back-to-backs is what we weren't going to see from the big fella. Not opening night. Look, it may be a dumb bet, but I like Brook Lopez to do damage. I like Bobby Portis here. I like Giannis to go off. I think him and Dame have a ton to prove this season. I think Doc Rivers has a ton to prove this season, to be quite honest. In an Eastern Conference that's not very good, in my opinion, I'll lay it here. I'm going to lay it with the Bucks, rather. Bucks minus 3.5 against the Sixers. And then I'm going to go over on 49.5 wins at even money for the Bucks. I think there's a real good shot that Milwaukee wins 50 games. I think Milwaukee's going to be in a bounce back spot here this season. I think this is Giannis and this is Dame who probably get broken up. Giannis may be gone. If this doesn't work, you got a fired Doc Rivers. You have a Giannis Antetokounmpo who's probably gone. Where does Damian Lillard go? I mean, there is a lot riding on this season for this team, for the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they play inspired basketball. I'm going to back Giannis here. I'm going to back the Bucks. I think they win over 49.5 wins. I like the Bucks over 49.5 wins at even money for 1 unit. And like I mentioned, I couldn't find an under bet that I liked. If I was going to play one, I'd play the Warriors for under their win total. If I had to go and find a win total that I was like, okay, who is going to wind up not winning as many games as everyone thinks that they're going to? I think it's probably going to be the Golden State Warriors. That number is currently set at 43.5. It's juiced to the over, but given their age and given, maybe it's my Steve Kerr hate, I don't know. But if I was going to bet one, I would bet the Warriors, but it's, you're betting on, I know they don't have Klay Thompson anymore, but it's still Steph. So it's a little scary to bet their under win totals on the Warriors, given that Steve Kerr is a very good coach and they still have, that guy who shoots threes in Steph Curry. Instead, I want to look at the Chicago Bulls. Lonzo Ball coming back. This win total is really low. It's really low. We mentioned the Eastern Conference is not that great. I was kind of stunned. These guys could win 35 games pretty easily. Zach LaVine, Vucevic, Kobe White, Lonzo Ball. They have Josh Giddey now. Kobe White and Zach LaVine are both really good players. I know people are saying this team is in limbo. Who knows where they're going to go? They lost Alex Caruso. They lost DeMar DeRozan. But I don't know. They have a couple of young rookies that they're high on. I think they can win 30 games. I think the Bulls, with Lonzo Ball, if he stays healthy. Lonzo Ball's got to stay healthy. But Giddey and Ball and Kobe White, I think they can play fast. I think they can go and win games against bad basketball teams. 30 wins. It's not a ton of wins here. And it's not even 20. It's 28. Can they win 28 games? I think they can. Bulls over 27.5 wins. It's minus 125 at 1.25 units. I think that number is super low. I think the Bulls can win that. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in basketball. I think the worst team in basketball will be right around that number of 24, 25 wins. I don't think the Bulls are going to be there. I think the Bulls are going to have some chances to shock some people and get some W's. And I think the Wizards are going to be the worst team in basketball. I think the Wizards, their win total is 19.5. I think the Trailblazers will be worse than them at 21.5, 20.5 for wins. The Nets are going to be horrible at 19.5. The Pistons, like you mentioned, 26.5. So I just think the Bulls have a chance here to win 28 games, 29 games, 30 games on the season. I'm going to go over with the Bills, over 27.5 wins for Chicago. So for us here for a Wednesday, we are going to jump in with the Pacers team total over 118.5 at minus 120. That's for 0.6 units. Pacers over for their win total for the season at 46.5, minus 105 at 1.05 units. The Bucks against the Sixers, who are depleted at minus 3.5 at minus 110 for 0.55 units. The Bucks win total over 49.5 at even money for 1 unit. In the Bulls, over 27.5 wins at minus 125 for 1.25 units as well. I'm not betting the Suns like everybody else. I'm not betting the Knicks like everybody else. Okay, we're looking for other things. Those markets have been completely bet up and not worth getting involved in. The Knicks already lost. But you have the Suns team, and everyone loves the Suns to have a huge bounce back year. Maybe so. That might be a good play. If you want to follow other content creators, they like the Suns. I'm going to stay away from it just because I think the number is already too high. Would have been great to have bought it, in the summer to come in with the Suns, but I'm not going to follow that. We're going to do our own here with Bucks over, Bulls over, and the Pacers over for wins for us here today. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning. It's the Daily Juice Podcast presented by DraftKings.